Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Joined alongside Jacob in Wisconsin. We got Tim in Green Bay, who is had to have his camera off for a second. He's trying to get rid of that DK Metcalf jersey on eBay. He just bought earlier today. So obviously we got news popping off here. Matter of fact, Tim, I think we got breaking news right now, don't we, sir? So fresh off the press, DK Metcalf is a Pittsburgh Steeler. All right. Says so DK went to the Steelers for a second-round pick. It looks like the early reports of the contract is 5 years, over $150 million.
Get your money, DK. Get your money.
I've seen someone
else overpaid.
I see some people saying 35 million a year, others saying 33. I've heard other people report just 5 years, 150 flat. Nonetheless, boy, that's a lot of money. And the rumors were true on that front. He was seeking $30 million. And you guys know that some of us got laughed at over that. Oh, no way he's worth that much. It'll be less than that. And then they also scoffed at the fact that they thought that they were going to get anything more than a third-round pick for him. Well, both are true. So DK Metcalf now a Pittsburgh Steeler. How we feeling about it, boys? I kind of feel like we dodged a bullet personally. But
could be a crackhead. You got hold to the wrong stuff.
What do you think, Jake?
Good for DK. Good for Pittsburgh, I guess. Totally cool.
Packers.
Yeah, I that money is no money that I wanted to pay that guy. So it's cool with me.
Because he didn't even crack 1,000 yards. He last year he was 107 targets, 900 yards. It's like, I don't know. Brent in Indiana says, everybody shut up. We're firing Goot. All right. Margin Cron. LA has over 75 Taco Bells. Green Bay only has 5. And of course, he's referring to the other breaking news here. Let's just go ahead and get to it. I appreciate that, Tim. Ian Rappaport tweeted out, the newest member of the LA Rams is Davante Adams. So he's going to the Rams. Gets a 2-year deal worth $46 million with $26 million guaranteed. So essentially a 1-year, $26 million deal. And then we'll see is what it kind of feels like there. So he wanted to stay on the West Coast. Hey, you guys know the number I put on him. I would love to have seen him in Green Bay at about 15 milli. So this is way out of my ballpark. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Tim, I don't even want to ask you about DK, but if you want to revisit that as well, you can, sir. What do you think about these two? This news breaking on these two receivers this evening, man?
Well, I'm happy that DK got his wish and he got to go to a warm weather climate team and didn't want to play in the cold. I'm glad that worked out for him. And I'm not super surprised that Tay went to the Rams. I'm really not. Good for him. I guess we're out of the mix, and I guess that means Jaden Higgins, you are a Packer. Round 2 of the draft. Let's go. But no, it's all good. I'm actually pretty happy. I had a feeling, somebody was going to overpay for DK, and they did. And again, not surprised that Tay's on the West Coast where he wanted to stay. At least Davante means what he says. Apparently, wanted to stay on the West Coast, and he's going to stay on the West Coast. So good for Tay, man. I will say this: keep your eyes peeled for Cooper Kupp. That wouldn't shock me if tomorrow we wake up to Cooper Kupp finding a new place to play football. Now that we know Tay is over there.
It should happen pretty quick, right? Like if the Rams were going to try to hold out and negotiate with other receivers and maybe drag their feet a little bit, you'd have a little more hope that Cooper's going back. Now, for the right price, he could go back to the Rams, right? That's wild to think about, Jacob. Matthew Stafford throwing to Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, and Davante Adams. If that were to happen, Lord have mercy. And Kyron Williams in the backfield. So I think they still got Higbee at tight end.
Yep.
McVay, man. McVay going to have a lot of tools to work with out there in LA, that's for sure. So let's see. We got a super chat here from Mike. I'm telling you, Josh Palmer, fellas. So he's standing on that Josh Palmer to Green Bay. Could happen, Mike. It could. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but depends on the price, like I always say. What is his market? Did we hit that earlier today, guys? Am I thinking right?
I thought we did. I don't remember what it was. Maybe 4.5 or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to look here. He's not on the trade block, right? Is he officially a free agent yet? That's the question. There he is, Josh Palmer. Josh Palmer's market value, if I can get this to load, it's struggling. Everybody's lighting it up right now. $4.3 million.
Yeah.
A little, like I said, a little more tolerable. If you're under $5 million, I don't consider hardly anything a reach, to be honest with you. You know. So,
Yep.
And we talked about, I think Mike pointed out in the morning show, what was it, 15 yards per reception, if I remember right. So he is somewhat of a deep threat. I think a bigger body receiver too, if I remember right. But only 25 years old. He played for the Chargers last year. So I don't know. What do you think, Jacob, about Tay? You haven't talked on Tay yet, right? What do you think about Tay going to the Rams, man?
I mean, same situation as DK. It's like I'm happy for him, but nowhere near what I was willing to pay for his services. So, he wanted to be on the West Coast, like Tim said. That's where he's going to be. McVay's got to be a pretty happy dude right now. I mean, that guy's got an absolute chessboard to play with on the offensive side of the ball there. So it's gonna be fun to watch, man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I don't know who marked it. I put it up there. I guess somebody wanted to see this. Brent in Indiana says, every time I get on here, you guys just lick Goody's blank. This is wide receiver and pass rush league. We have neither.
Really?
That's interesting. All right. Hey, thank you for your opinion, Brent. And hey, appreciate the kind words there, sir, too.
Yeah.
Also.
I'll let Rome and Wicks and Reed and the boys know that we don't have any receivers in Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
I just crack up how people, when they don't get their way, they just kick and scream and they go straight to the insults. That's what cracks me up. It's like, I know people probably don't see it. They don't look outside of their, I wonder how this looks to the rest of the world. They just, I didn't get what I wanted. You're a bad person. Just strange. It's really weird for a grown man to resort to insulting people because they have a differing opinion about a sports team. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird. I don't know. Just a little odd. But anyway, Brent, appreciate you swinging through, buddy. Hit that like button for us. I'm going over here, okay? But, anyway.
Here's the guy.
Right. I just don't understand it. Anyway, all right. So DK going to Pittsburgh, right? We've got Tay obviously going to the LA Rams. There's a bunch of other news that broke too. Speaking of like what Tim said, people not meaning what they say and saying what they mean, right?
Oh yeah, let's talk about Myles Garrett.
Yeah, Myles Garrett. You guys remember the letter he wrote, right? Saying, man, I appreciate everything y'all did, but it's always been about winning a championship. And I'm requesting a trade. I want to go play somewhere where I can win a championship. And he agreed to a $40 million per year deal with the Browns. He literally said, "Hey guys, I ain't playing here. I want to have a shot to win a ship." And of course, they said, "How about 40 bones?" He went, "You know what? Deal, yeah." It ain't too bad.
Yeah, he can go buy his own Super Bowl ring like Za'Darius did, right?
Which, by the way, OZ got cut today too, right? From the Lions.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, he did.
I didn't even realize did he have any time left on his deal? Was that just kind of a favor to him to cut him outright and there was no time left? That way he didn't have to wait.
I thought he was on a 1 year last year with.
I thought so too.
Yeah. So all that's left is for Z to go to the Bears, right? He'll complete the circle of life in the NFC North.
Yeah, that would complete the cycle for sure, man.
I actually could see that.
I know.
Bears need some edge rotation too.
And it looks like the majority of the people in the chat and the people that's been communicating with me today, they agree that the whole DK for $30 million per is just too much.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
I'm just reading. You know who's really mad about that is Cincinnati now, because before they've re-signed their two big stars, DK walks in and he's like, "I'll take 33 per," and now they're looking at each other like, "Oh no." Did y'all see the Aaron Jones re-signing as well?
Yes.
Like that one hurts me more. I swear. It's a little tough to swallow still. Aaron Jones, I'm really honestly happy for him though. I think it was 2 years, $20 million. So let's get it.
So 1 year,
yeah.
So Brent in Indiana comes back with the olive branch, the $4.99 super sticker. Maybe that super sticker was for the sound effects I made. I don't know. But Brent, thank you so much for that super sticker, man. Appreciate it. So, yeah, Aaron Jones. Vikings are re-signed running back Aaron Jones to a 2-year, $20 million deal per Adam Schefter. I haven't heard about the guarantee. Has anybody heard anything on the guarantee there?
I haven't seen it.
I wouldn't be surprised if that's probably $10 million guaranteed, something like that, like a 1-year, $10 million deal. I think it's a good signing for them. I hate to see him back in Minnesota because I thought he was effective. And I know there's some people that believe, oh, no, we made the right move. And I think we did with Josh Jacobs between the two. But my stance is still, man, for $1 million more, we could have kept him. And that would have prevented a division rival from getting him. And we'd have arguably the best backfield in the league. That one still hurts, right? But, of course, I know I won't get credit for criticizing Goody on that. I'll just get, bashed for agreeing with something he does. So.
Heard it from a fan right here.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you so much, Chris. Chris Freeman says $13 million guaranteed for Aaron Jones. So a little bit more than I expected. That's a good deal for Aaron. Good deal for Aaron. Now the question is, who's their quarterback going to be, right? That's the big one. Badger Trio with the super chat. If the Bucs let him walk, Godwin's solid pick if possible. Been pretty vocal too, Badger Trio. That's my top pick in all the receivers. Like last year, it was easy right at the top. Xavier McKinney was my top pick. When you look at wide receiver and go, okay, if we're definitely going all in on a wide receiver, Godwin is the one that checks all the boxes for me personally. It's still a lot of money, right? And I do want to say this. You guys remember the calculated market value for Davante Adams was $14 million. He ended up getting 22. Was it 22 million per? So that's probably a pretty good indication of when you see these wide receiver projected contracts like market value, they're going to be significantly under, right? Teams are still overpaying for wide receivers, believe it or not. So, yeah. So, what do you guys think about Godwin? We still on board with that one, or
definitely?
I think that'd be my only real target that I'm looking at still, other than the possibility of Cooper Kupp. I still am interested in that. I really am. I think we could dust him off and at least get one good year out of him. But Doc says I'm faster than Kupp. I don't think you are. I'm gonna bet you're not.
Believe it. And we'll see you at the draft there, Sir Doctor. We're gonna get you on that 40-yard dash and see if that's true. Yeah. So again, Badger Trio, thank you so much for the super chat, man. I'm on board with the Godwin pickup for sure. It just depends, depends on what the market's going to be for him. I know this. You could look at it one of two ways. Like as these receivers fly off the board and go to their new destination, you're seeing the pool dwindle down now. But obviously, these are teams that felt like they needed to go get a receiver right out the bat. I think the longer he sits out, it's typically after the first or second day of free agency, their value starts to drop a little bit. So if we get to day 2 or day 3 of free agency, or hell, even halfway through the day tomorrow, and you're not seeing a whole lot of interest in Godwin, we might be able to swoop in there and get quite the deal on it. That might end up being somewhere between 15 and 20 million per, if you could pull that off. And again, I have no inside information, obviously, on whether or not Goody's interested in Godwin. That's the one that kind of, like I said, checks all the boxes for me. Chuck says Godwin's price just went up. So that's an interesting way of looking at it. To me, I'm always kind of glancing at supply and demand, right? There's a weaker supply now, but the teams that really want a wide receiver, they've got their guy, right? At least 2 of them, or 3 of them, really. So
there's a shocking amount of MVS love going on in the chat, and I am not Doc. You sabotaged it, and now it's spreading like a cancer.
I think he's hacked everybody's YouTube. What I think happened. It's Doc putting this in under Bales. Has anybody's opinion changed on MBS? Is he the answer or no?
The answer, no.
Has anybody looked?
He's the answer. What's the question?
Yes, exactly.
Has anybody looked at his PFF? Have we even taken a glance at it lately?
I have not.
I'm going to do it real quick, just for craps and giggles here.
Guys, it's even official. Even Afham's out on his favorite Chief.
Holy
it's got to be bad. Yeah.
No,
well,
it's
since
got
Afham's
real.
out, I might be in. You know what I mean? I'm about to just make my mind. Let's see here. So he was with the Saints last. I didn't even know that. All right, let's see. PFF grades, sir. Offense. All right, let's read off this career PFF grades for MVS real quick. 60, 57, 60, 66, 64, 52, 61 last year. He was in Buffalo and New Orleans.
Don't put that name in my mouth right there.
I will say this. MVS went to Kansas City and they won 2 Super Bowls. They didn't bring him back and they didn't get the job done. So.
He was the
Stop
best
laughing.
guy around.
Ari Iron Miner says MVS is in our price range. What is that? 1.2 million Ari Iron Miner. Right. Chuck Jagger says MVS talk is crazy. Dude runs like 8 miles a game to get 2 touchdowns every 7 games.
Ready to go.
I think that needs to be the poll question, but you got to make it. You got to make it specific, though. You know what I mean? You can't just put, would you like MVS? It's got to be for the price, right? Let's see what his market value is. 1.5 million. I'm going to put the poll question is going to be, is MVS the answer to our wide receiver problems? How about that? That sound good to y'all?
Yeah, that'll work.
Talk about something else while I top this out, boys.
I mean, I don't know. I'd rather pay Amari Cooper at this point.
Here's an interesting tidbit that I'm looking at here. It says the Seahawks hired Clint Kubiak to be their offensive coordinator. Since then, they've traded Geno Smith, traded DK Metcalf, and cut Tyler Lockett. You think that dude's looking in the mirror like, what the did I get into here? Like, why did I take this job? That is
great point. Poll questions up, boys. Is MVS the answer to our wide receiver problems in Green Bay? I'm trying not to laugh, topping it out. We'll see how everybody votes, though. We'll see how many burner accounts Doc's got in here. So, obviously, Aaron Jones back to Minnesota on that 2-year deal, which, like I said, they could get out of it after 1. I'm going to comb through Twitter again here in a second. We're just going to do a quick rundown of everything we've seen so far. I keep mentioning these backers because, obviously, Quay, if we don't pick up the 5th-year option by the end of April, Christian's going to get a couple dozen donuts from me. And also they're going to be looking –
a couple dozen Krispy Kreme donuts.
That's a big difference between donuts.
You can't get them cheap gas station donuts. You got to get the real deal.
Tim, those gas station donuts never let me down. That Sunday morning when I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna get home when I was in my 20s, it's like, man, that gas station
donut from the night before.
Oh, it soaks a lot of that alky up. You know what I mean? We get on with your day. That sugar, but So we're obviously there's a chance that Goody's trying to re-sign Quay. I mean, everything he said, take it for what you want, what you will. It sounds like he wants Quay back. What's the market going to be for Quay? That's the question, right? So the Jets are re-signing linebacker Jamien Sherwood to a 3-year, $45 million contract at just 25 years old. Sherwood is coming off a career-high 158 tackles last season and was voted team MVP by his teammates. So I feel like I want this to be a fair comp, a fair, conversation. In terms of Quay, this dude obviously had a better year than Quay did. Right now, if Quay goes out and has a year like this coming year, and they decide to extend him before he hits free agency, that's the type of money we're looking at. You're looking at well over $10 million per. It's kind of where you're sitting now. We can't 5th-year option him. It's going to be a lot more difficult, obviously, because outside linebackers in the 34 defense are coupled into figuring what that 5th-year option amount is, and it's well over $20 million. So, what do you guys think? Would you sign Quay to a 3-year, $45 million deal, Jacob? Let me start with you.
Oh,
I
boy.
know this answer.
3-year, $45 million.
Yeah, 3-year, $45 million. And it didn't give specifics on the guarantee, but you got a pretty good idea of what the guarantee probably would be. So
I would, depending on, do I get to see how he plays this next year?
Yes, I think you could. Yeah, but with the understanding that if he goes out and balls out, that number is going to be even higher, right? But
I would rather let him. I would rather watch him and show that he actually deserves the money, and then pay him slightly more than pay him the bag without him showing me at this point what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
I would unfortunately probably let him walk.
Yeah, got it. I understand that completely. Like that's kind of where I would be too. Is like let's see if those 2 or 3 games down the stretch where he was looking really good is the new Quay in this defense, right?
I really do think that his play could be drastically elevated by the resurgence or the appearance of Edgerrin Cooper. If he gets to lose the green dot, or if he gets to just focus on whatever he does better, and Edge can maybe be more of that like take the weight of the world on his shoulders type linebacker, where Quay maybe has a lot less on his plate and can be a little more honed in his game. I think that could absolutely make him a better player. So We'll see.
Right. And to give a fair comp, Tim, to get your answer here, this is 3 years, $45 million, right? Okay, the next one is going to be, I apologize for the dogs. I don't know what's going on. They're having a damn party or something. I don't know what's going on downstairs. Linebacker Ernest Jones, he and the Seahawks agreed to terms on a 3-year contract extension worth $33 million. So whatever it was, 40-some million, 45 million, as opposed to 33 million, a little closer to 10 million per, with 15 million guaranteed, keeping him with Seattle. So that's another comp to what we've seen from Quay to this point, probably closer to this number next year than it would, obviously, the guy that was voted by his teammates as team MVP. But what do you think? What would be the number you put on Quay? You're definitely the biggest Quay fan of everybody on the show. I think we all like him. It's just we're different places on what we think his true value is,
Yeah, I'm north of 10 million, but not by much. So I understand the sentiment that, 15 plus million is a bit much. And I also agree, with the sentiment that Jacob and a lot of fans have, which is I'd like to see another year in Hafley's system and kind of get an idea of what you're really paying for. But I'm not willing to go as far as letting Quay just walk. But I do agree. I think Jacob brings up a good point. Like, yeah, you're right. If you let him play this season and, you go to the drawing table and try and work a deal after that, if he balls out, the number's going to go up significantly. But you definitely feel more comfortable paying that money, knowing that he's got another year under his belt. So, I kind of agree to disagree, but still agree, if that makes any sense at all.
2025, it makes perfect sense, buddy. Josh Martin with the super chat. Thanks so much, Josh. Appreciate you, man. He says, do you think Jair gets traded or cut tomorrow? I think there's a chance it could happen tomorrow, right? It's kind of that first day where we feel like, all right, the window is truly open to make something happen. Albeit, I mean, how many trades have we seen up to this point, guys? Was that the first trade we've seen? I mean, think about it. There's been a lot of trade talk, but
yeah. Are you talking about DK to Pittsburgh? Yeah.
Was there any more, Jacob? Am I missing one, man?
I thought there was one more.
Feels like there was a bunch, but I'm thinking that might have been the only one up to this point. But the reason I say that is because, all right, that dam is kind of broke now, right? So maybe teams will push it along a little bit if they are trying to trade for Jair. But I'm also of the opinion, again, Josh, thank you for the super chat. Thanks for bringing this up, man. Mike Hebring says, hold on to Jair until teams are desperate. No hurry. He's under contract. And again, like also another thing, Mike, and I know you know this and all of our listeners do too, I'm sure. You wait post June 1, whether you declare it a post June 1 or you just wait till June 1. The longer you wait, the better for the Packers, to be honest with you. It kind of feels that way. So, and the longer we wait, if he decides, hey, well, the market wasn't what I thought it was for me, let's do a restructure, get me a little bit more guaranteed money. We can lower the cap number, that type of thing. That might make sense in the long run. I'm still not ruling out Jair coming back. It's just, if we went through all of this for the second year in a row for him to just return to Green Bay, it's going to be like, man, can we, when we sit down to restructure a deal, if he doesn't get traded or cut, right? When we sit down to talk about this, can we both come to an agreement like us? Hey, can we just not do this again? Can we just kind of honor the contract and let's put everything behind us rather than every damn year there's some kind of comment being made, there's something going on to create drama. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Hopefully they can be adults in the room and get that done, because that is frustrating as a fan. It really is.
I think you're right, Clay. I think that was the only actual trade. I'm looking through all the news and notes, and that's all I can find.
There you go. All right. And again, Josh, thank you for asking that question, man. Jake Shavink in the chat earlier said, put Seattle on Ted McMillan's list. We had him already, if you'll remember. And guys, we did a little exercise. I think, was it earlier this morning when we did it, or was that last? I think it was last night.
It was last night, yeah.
Yeah. So last night we did a little exercise and said, okay, how many teams truly would be in the Ted McMillan market, right? Like that they need a receiver, and it would legit be, there'd be a decent shot for them to draft him, right? The 6th pick, the 9th pick, the 12th pick, the 17th pick, the 20th pick, the 21st pick, the 22nd pick before we pick. So 1, 2, 3, 4, what? Seven teams could legit take him before us, and it would make all the sense in the world. And then, of course, when we get to that point, the guys asked me the question, all right, so if he's sitting there at 23, you taking him? What was my answer? Probably not. all this for that to be the answer, but it's tough, man. It's tough to pull the trigger on a wide receiver in the first round, in my opinion, man, based off the success we've had with the second round picks and all that in the past. So I don't know. But yeah, I agree with you there, Jake. I think Seattle would definitely be in the market. Coach Lynn, Nick Westbrook, Icon. Am I saying that right?
Akeen, yeah.
So another name to look out for. 2-0 for this. Tyler Lockett would be a decent option for the right price. Yeah. I don't know, Jacob, do you have Tyler Lockett's PFF grades? I think we hit on them briefly last night. Do we have any idea what his grades look like from last year? And I'll see if I can find the market value for Tyler Lockett, as I've got it right here. Tyler Lockett's value, again, guys, numbers are going to hit over top of these. It's obvious now, right? But his calculated market value is $7.7 million per. All right.
Yeah.
And this is the perfect example of what we say. Like, that number is based off of similar production and what contracts those players got. But the market isn't what we think it is. The market is what someone else is willing to pay for said player. And if somebody's willing to pay DK Metcalf $30 million per, somebody's probably going to pay Tyler Lockett more than $7 million. Go ahead, Jacob. What's his grade?
So he's actually had a pretty good career. This last year was a 65-2, which is the lowest he's ever had in his career. The year before, he was a 78-1. Year prior, 77-9. 2021, he was an 81 flat. 2020, 76. 2019, 81. 2018, 82. 2017, 67. 2016, 68. And his rookie year, he was a 75-9. So definitely a little bit of regression going on, but not as drastic as I would expect.
There you go. All right. Appreciate it, man. Ron Sample, Pickens and DK, what could possibly go wrong, man? Listen, Ron, I thought
not having a quarterback to throw him the ball, maybe.
I thought the same thing about. I think he's being sarcastic because both of those guys are huge personalities. Pickens is a strange cat, and DK has not been the most stable person from the way it seems. Now I know if you mention that, you're labeled a racist. You're labeled an old white guy. That was mentioned in the chat because somebody said they didn't want DK. So you got to be careful with that stuff. If you disagree with a player, coming to your team, you get labeled all kinds of things. But Pickens and DK, man, I could see them both wanting the targets. And let's be honest, if Justin Fields ends up being the quarterback for Pittsburgh, right, or they go draft a quarterback, whatever it is. How the heck is he going to control the quarterback room or the wide receiver room when it's DK and Pickens? That just sounds like an Antonio Brown situation all over again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we'll see, man.
I think if anyone can handle it, it's Mike Tomlin, though.
Yeah. To me too, like Tomlin's shine's kind of wore off a little bit. Like it's been so long since they've done anything that he just kind of always gets a pass. The Antonio Brown thing, when that happened in the locker room, they got rid of him pretty quick, didn't they, Tim? Am I thinking right? Like he didn't stick around much longer.
Yep.
So, yeah, he's a strong leader for sure. Mike Hebring, Lazard.
Oh, God.
Nah, I think Jacob summed it up. Exactly. Jake Shavik, Tutu Atwell got 1 year, $10 million. MVS probably gets $8 to $10 million. Hey, it wouldn't surprise me. Again, his market value was showing 1.5, but I can't believe we're talking this much about MVS. If I click on MVS, his last contract he got, 1 year deal at 30 years old for the Saints was only $1.1 million. Jake, I must be way higher on Tutu Atwell than you are, Jake. I really like Tutu. I thought he's a solid player. But MVS, I've never really looked at like that. He's got blazing speed. He's got pretty good height. But, yeah, maybe he will, though, man. Maybe he will get more than expected there. I'm trying to see. It's not really showing. His last deal he got was in Kansas City. He signed in 2022. That overall cap hit, I guess you could say, $4.8 million. And then 2029, it jumped to $10.9 million. But I think they actually voided it out in 2024, and then that's when he goes to the Saints, obviously. So
I've got two receivers on the brain that can I mention?
Heck yeah, dude. Let's hear it.
Two free agent receivers that are under 30 years old and will be well below $10 million.
All right.
KJ Osborne.
Hey,
We talked about KJ Osborne, 27 years old. I believe he's a free agent. And the other one is DJ Chark from the Chargers, 28 years old. I believe they're going to be in that 4 to 8 million range, possibly.
Mhm.
Any thoughts on those two guys?
DJ Shark, I remember back in the day when he was kind of a deep threat, right? I think he's fallen off. I'm personally not interested in him, to be honest with you, Tim. But looking at the fair market value for who was the first guy you said?
KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne. It was like showing $2.5 million. Now it's obviously going to be more than that, I would imagine. But yeah, I don't know, Jacob. What do you think about those two guys, man?
I'm a little more open to DJ Shark than KJ Osborne, but I just think that Love and Football says DJ Shark do. Don't do that. What about Gabe Davis? Anybody looked at him up? Is he on the free agent list right here? Otherwise 12 for this says Henry Ruggs is under 30 and quite fast. Wow. Okay.
Gabe, you were asking Gabe Davis, right? Gabe Davis. Let's see here.
I'm looking for him now.
Yeah, let me just go ahead and skip to the last page here, I guess. I don't know, man. He's not showing up on unless I'm overlooking him here. He's not showing up on Spot Track's free agent list for wide receivers. I don't know why. DJ Shark is sitting right there, and DJ Shark is showing $1.5 million for him. Whether that proves to be accurate, who knows? They do already have Davante Adams is up though, and it's showing, like I said, for 2 years, $46 million, 23 average annual value, total guaranteed $26 million. So 56.5% of the contract is fully guaranteed.
I feel like at this point, if we don't get Godwin, we got to just focus on the draft and getting some big-bodied receivers. Look at your Jaden Higgins, maybe Pat Bryant, those types of guys. Hey, even Tesla, man, 6'4", I'll take it. Let's go. I just think right now that we have a better chance of striking gold in the draft than bringing in some 5 to 10 year vet that just is limping around and needs to be put out to pasture.
Yeah. Jerm in the chat here says, in my opinion, I hope we address our D line before a receiver. My God, we need pass rush. To me, I want to see a 3-tech. I'd be okay with a stellar edge opposite Rashawn Gary. That'd be great. But, LVN 11, over 11% quarterback pressure rate. The run defense played really well. I think we were tied for second in the league in yards per carry allowed. So the run defense seems to be somewhat shored up. To me, if you can get the 3-tech of the future, that's the way I would go. But again, Khalil Mack, if you sign Khalil Mack opposite Rashawn Gary and throw him in,
I'd love that. I would love that so much, man.
This might have to overpay for Khalil though.
Oh, absolutely.
Snatch him away from the Bears.
So for me, it would be Khalil Mack, and this is just free agency. Khalil Mack and Chris Godwin. I think that'd be money well spent.
Oh, can you believe
back
it?
up, hit the draft, and and I don't want you to think that I'm like wide receiver crazy or edge crazy. This is just using the Bill Walsh blueprint of you'll overpay for great, never overpay for good. I think you're overpaying for great for both of those players. Other than them, it gets slim pickings, like Joey Bosa's one, right? That's in talks with the Niners to go play with his brother Nick. Good player. I don't think he's great right now. Khalil Mack has been great. And the beautiful thing about the Khalil Mack situation is you get him for a year or two, get him for a 2-year deal where you can get out of it after one, kind of like this Davante deal here where only 56% of it's guaranteed. So you're only eating 6% on the second year type cap penalty. And if you want to, push it out, that's cool. If you want to front load it, whatever. You kind of get to start from scratch in 2 years. And this might get you over that hump to the next stage of the playoffs. But yeah, I think you make a great point, Jerm. I really do, man. Yeah. So
I wouldn't mind Hedrickson either. Like if we actually were able to put together a package for him. I mean, good Lord, could you imagine either Khalil or Hendrickson, and then if you were to get a Godwin, and then maybe even throw in a crazy thing like a DJ Reed or something like that, or a Paulson Adebo, you'd have to just wipe the permanent, grin off my face.
Yeah, Todd in the chat says, keep dreaming. First day Packers don't do anything normally. They did last year, but anytime Goody goes after a free agent, if he's going to be active in free agency, he actually does it on day one. If you're going after big names, he doesn't wait around. Like, you guys remember his first year as GM, what did he do? Made a bunch of cuts that we weren't happy with, fans weren't happy with, to get rid of, some of our Packer greats. He went out and got Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, Adrian Amos day one. Bang. Put it in the bank. Last year, what did he do? Day one, Xavier McKinney, Josh Jacobs, right off the bat. I kind of feel the opposite there. We can agree to disagree there, Todd. I feel like if Goody sees someone like, hey, that's the player I want, he just goes right after him day one. If you don't see him go after someone in the first 24 to 48 hours, I feel like he's kind of laying back and looking for those discounts on the backside, maybe guys that are left over. When you start hearing players, here's a key to free agency too. I learned this from Michael Lombardi. When you start hearing players taking visits, when players say, hey, they're going to visit with this team, they're going to visit with that team. As soon as they start visiting, their market is in the tank, right? Yeah. Once they get to the point where they've got to go meet with coaches, meet with GMs, that's when boy, they're starting to reach, and that might be the time to swoop in and get a deal for sure. So Chris N says, keep Ja money. Tim, you'd be all right with that, wouldn't you, big dog?
Oh, I'd love that. You already know. It's my dude, man.
Took it down the sideline, turned up with my guys, gave the football to a little kid wearing 23.
I like what Dennis says here, too. Khalil Mack, Jacob, this goes hand in hand with what we've been saying. Khalil Mack is a great pass rusher, and he brings veteran leadership to the team. Really, really does, man. Loving football. Relax, guys. Tay's still available. Deontay. I appreciate that.
We haven't talked about Deontay Johnson much, have we?
Yeah, I haven't mentioned him, Tim, because I don't know why, but I was thinking that didn't he have a couple of negative interactions with two different teams, or did I just imagine? I might be thinking of someone else.
Well, he was on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and they shipped him over to Carolina. Now it sounds like he's playing out as well
last year, right?
Yeah, and then he went to Baltimore. Yeah.
Mike Hebring in the chat says Matt Schneiden says the Packers were never in on DK. He reported that from the get-go too, Mike.
Yep.
We talked about it on this show. He was all over that. When everybody else was, biting on, man, the Packers are going after DK. He's like, I haven't talked to any. My sources within the building said, no way, they're not looking at him. So, yeah, there you go. Now, there was a pass rusher that inked a pretty big deal. It sounds like Mike Vrabel and one of his former players in Tennessee are going to link back up as Harold Landry signs a deal here. This is per Ari Mirov at My Sports Update on X. The Patriots are signing former Titans Pro Bowl outside linebacker Harold Landry to a 3-year deal worth $43.5 million, reuniting him with Mike Vrabel. We kind of talked about him. PFF grades, right? I think he had a decent sack stat, but yeah, I mean, you guys know how I feel about sacks. I think it's an overrated stat. I think that it's more about pressuring the quarterback consistently rather than getting a couple of finish plays, a year extra over other players. I want someone who's consistently disruptive, not someone who, whatever, every 2 games, all of a sudden, bang, he shows up, gets a sack, and then you don't hear from him again, right? And I feel like that's what PFF and the grades typically try to show you is, you're going to get a higher grade when you're more consistent as opposed to just, you go out and get 2 sacks a game and play like crap the rest of the snaps. PFF's going to be low on you. You know what I'm saying? I would rather have those players that are going to show up, play in and play out. Not necessarily on the stat sheet, but on the tape where it's like, wow, this dude's really filling his gap. He's really setting the edge. You see that run stop percentage significantly higher than other statistics. That's something that I think played a big role in how Green Bay really improved their defense last year. But I wasn't on the Harold Landry hype train, but how do you guys feel about that? Do you think he's worth 3-year, $43.5 million? And if anybody's going to get the most out of him, it's probably going to be Mike Vrabel for sure.
I mean, Vrabel had, a lot of time with him. I mean, Harold Landry had a great stint in his career where he was grading out very well, but I think that he's definitely kind of hit that peak, and now he's on the descending track of his career. But like you said, if anybody's going to get him to have a great year, flash in the pan type thing, it'd be his guy over there.
Right. 3-year deal, really a 2-year deal probably, right? See what he's got left in the tank. I think it makes sense for the Patriots.
No. Loving Football says, is Ari Mirov the one who isn't a real person, or is that Dove Kleiman? That's Dove Kleiman. Some people call him Dov Kleiman. I've heard him called Dove Kleiman. He is actually a real person. Many people thought he wasn't for a long time. Now, listen, he's a somewhat of a, I got to choose my words wisely here. Some people believe, not me, some people believe he is a shady character. And there's been some weird stuff that's happened behind the scenes. But Ari Mirov is a dude who started from the ground up.
Yeah,
legit
legit.
guy. Yeah. If I remember correctly, I want to say that Chris Collinsworth actually signed him on with PFF for a short stint to kind of be
Here's the guy.
Oh, you beat me to it too.
Exactly right. So, Ari Mirov is the real deal. You're thinking of, like I said, Dove. He was the one that everybody was kind of saying, "Ah, man, he."
Can I mention something real quick?
Yeah, man.
For some reason, we have like 600 people watching this right now. So if you guys could just take a second and hit that like button and also share it. Sharing is caring, and it helps a lot of other Packer fans find us, because otherwise, how would they find this great group of guys right here? Some say the best guys around.
He was the best guy around.
Daryl will be happy that we're highlighting this one. Daryl, this one's for you, buddy. Professor Cake says Aaron Rodgers to Pittsburgh makes too much sense now. It really does. Cross my mind. He and Mike Tomlin have a tremendous amount of respect for each other.
Mm-hmm.